Well, hello there, and welcome to today's stream. We're going to be talking about our characters in D&D. Oh, no, I don't want to hear myself twice. Wait, there we go. We're going to talk about our characters in D&D a little bit, how we made the characters, and are we living vicariously through our characters? I think these are interesting questions to think about when you're playing D&D, so let's jump
right into that.
Let's jump right into that. Welcome back to Thought Raid, a show where we take on thoughts and find better ways of thinking about them. I'm Brandon. With me today is the wonderful Tim. And today...
The wonderful.
Maybe every time we go live, I need to give you a whole nother adjective.
Praise me.
Let's see, I got the main talking scene, so nothing is showing up yet. So I don't know exactly when the chat... We might have to put that back in there. I don't know. Either way, today we're talking about D&D, our characters, and the process of making a character, and are we living vicariously through our characters?
Yeah, it's pretty funny how it seems like our characters, as we play them, develop certain nervous tics or things that we want to champion. Then it's like, wait, why are they championing that? Or ways they respond, and it's almost like a free pass to do the things that we've always wanted to do.
It really does feel like that, yes.
Like how my character currently is a klepto.
Deep down,
Yeah.
I really wish that I was a kleptomaniac.
Well, you're just put in certain circumstances that have consequences, and in D&D, it's like there are consequences, but it's fun.
Allow myself an opportunity to do this evil thing.
Yeah, and I don't know. I'm one of those people where I think I've played last year, I played probably 15 hours of Skyrim, and all of it was setting up the game and making my character. I got to that first part where you exit the cave, and I stopped because I'm like, I'm done. After installing all these mods and spending time, like, what race, what class do I want to be?
That's a lot of time to not actually do anything, Tim. That's sad.
Well, I mean, how much time do you spend doing mods and stuff for Minecraft and Terraria?
Probably, I don't know if I spend 15 hours, but maybe like upwards of like 3 max of finding them. Now, granted, finding mods on, Minecraft is easy as, ooh, I like that, install. Ooh, I like that, install, due to CurseForge. CurseForge makes it so very easy to mod it. I don't know if it's as easy to do that for Skyrim. Skyrim's on Steam.
Yeah, and I think it's pretty easy if I recall. You just have to download one of the clients and select what mods you want. The issue there is that they often conflict, and so you're not always sure what's going to make your game crash and not. But anyway, today we're talking about D&D.
Yes.
So we have a campaign that we play dungeon mastered by our good friend Dan. The man with the dungeon plan Smith.
With the dungeon plan.
Yeah, you see Dan every Friday on our Friday night streams.
Yes.
Lately, he's also got long, luxurious hair.
Or at the very least, you hear Dan. Yeah, I've yet to see him. We haven't had
That's
him on
right,
camera.
He doesn't have a cam.
He has been on previous Thought Raids. That he has been. We've had him on like really early on. And it was when he was in his first apartment with his wife.
I remember that.
Mm-hmm.
I remember looking at his background. I was like, Dan, you're so stylish.
Yes, we mean the thing from Stranger Things, John. Yes.
Mm-hmm. Dan the meme man. He pretty much is.
He does come up with a lot of memes.
His whole life is a meme.
Yes. Wait.
Look at his marriage. Just kidding. Anyway, we have a D&D night every other Saturday.
Yes.
We do the
Sunday,
thank you. We do the whole pizza, whatnot, and we have a pretty decent group. We have 5 people, 6 if you include the DM.
Mm-hmm.
And our campaign currently is more steampunk oriented.
Yes.
So it is fantasy based, but it's all like speckle as the means of energy and guns and contraptions, mechanisms, mechs, and all that. Not normally my cup of tea, but it's enjoyable.
I kind of like it.
Do you?
Yeah,
I mean, you're playing an artificer.
and I fit right in because of that. But no, I like steampunk and I like, cyberpunk and all these different themes that Dan has stitched together for our story. I do like it.
Yeah. So today we're talking about character creation and are we our D&D characters? And this is an interesting topic to me because when I create my character, I do associate with them. I mean, that's why video games are so popular. We always want to be the protagonist. We want to be fighting in the Coliseum. At least I do. I don't want to speak for everybody. We like that feeling of achievement, acknowledgement. We like thwarting our foes, slaying the dragon, whatever. And so there's always that level of attachment to the characters that we see. So currently, I guess let's go through who we're currently playing. And then let's also talk about who we played in our last campaign, which was a little different. So last time you chose a changeling.
Oh, so we're going to start with the previous campaign.
Sure.
Okay.
We'll mix it up.
We'll mix it up.
Yeah, so you were a changeling and now you're a Vidalcan?
I feel like to go over this, we first need to cover what stipulations were involved in the previous campaign versus the stipulations that were
talking
involved.
about like party formation or what?
Well, no, for instance, in Dan's campaign, he didn't want us to have any sort of evil characters. That was not on the table.
And by evil, he's talking about the
Yes.
What is it called? What is it called? The rating system, lawful evil
Alignment chart.
alignment.
Yes.
Alignment, thank you.
There's an alignment chart that exists within D&D if you've never played it, that goes from good to evil and lawful to chaotic. And so it's essentially 9 points: lawful good, neutral evil, neutral good, whatever, true neutral evil, and chaotic good.
Witchcraft characters.
Yeah, different types of morality standpoints. In Scott's campaign, there wasn't. I don't remember him having a specific limitation on what moral alignment your character needed to have.
This campaign was nuts, though. We had 7 people at the table, and I think you're only supposed to have 4.
Well, I don't know what you like.
Well, I mean, typically you're supposed to have 4. I think that's what Dan said the ideal party size was.
Yeah, the more you get, the more difficult it is to write encounters. Yes, for sure, because you have so many hands in the kitchen, and it would take longer to go through the encounter, and you'd have to build bigger encounters just to actually threaten your players. So there's that.
Well, I mean, if you watch Critical Role, what's his name? The dude with the long hair that.
Right. That guy.
Gosh, what is his name?
I know. God. Matt Mercer.
There you go. If you look at his campaigns, he's got like 8 people at the table.
Yeah.
How does he do it? I don't get it.
I guess he's been doing it long enough that he's used to having that many people at the table in the first place. Other than that, that's a lot. I can barely handle 4. So there's that. I don't know what's going on.
Yeah. Well, so talking about alignment specifically, when you made your character, so there's the full range. So if you don't know what alignment is in D&D, it goes from lawful to neutral to evil, and then you have...
Which I just went over. Before you go over it twice.
Recapping.
In case you weren't listening.
Either way. How did you decide what you wanted to make your character? So did you have a natural inclination towards, I need to do good? Especially now, for those of you who don't know, we are Christians.
Yeah.
And so there are laws that we're supposed to live by, but not in D&D, the devil's game.
The devil's game. See, well, again, going back to context with Scott's campaign, I don't remember him having any kind of requirement of moral alignment of your characters.
Well, what about you, though? Are you one of those people where it's like, I can't play an evil character? Or
No.
I don't want to be lawful good.
No, up to the point of Scott's campaign, I really liked doing evil-ish characters. That was my favorite kind of alignment to choose: lawful evil and or neutral evil. Or something that was bent towards evil, because that is very opposite to my character, my personal character.
Devil's game.
The devil's, yep.
You haven't seen Stranger Things, have you?
No, I've seen first and second season. I haven't seen anything beyond.
Brandon.
I haven't seen third or fourth yet.
It's so good. Sorry, I interrupted you.
But up until that point, I like to do more evil characters because it's an opportunity for me to do something I would otherwise not allow myself to do in real life.
Did you ever play the game Fable?
No.
Fable, oh man, Fable was great back in the day. It was the first game where you had the moral alignments, and everything that you did that was good would take you down a path of good. If you did things bad, you'd grow like horns, and a dark storm cloud would follow you around. If you did your, and I don't know why, I think I did it because you got more money. But if you did your quests without clothes and armor on, you just had a little loincloth. Obviously you'd get more renown and you get more money because
of course,
it was
sex
more
sells.
dangerous. I mean. But like your character would get scars all over their body from battle, but I digress.
It's not wrong. In all technicality. What do you say? Disappointed Brennan, shake my head. Wow.
But it means you need to watch Stranger Things.
Yeah. Well, I'm going to. I will finish up with the 3rd and 4th season. I feel like I have so many things on my plate that it's taking me time to get to that. Either way, that was what I did. Answering your question, I had a bend towards evil characters because I wanted to experiment not doing the right thing. And for some reason, it's easier to do that in a role play than it is to do that in a role-playing game, like an RPG game. Like,
what do you mean? Like
Final Fantasy, for instance.
It's easier to do it in Final Fantasy?
No, it's harder for me to do it in Final Fantasy than it is for me to do it.
It's because there's consequences, man. Like if you're bad and you off one of the characters, you can't get. I guess it's the same in D&D.
Yeah, it happens, but for some reason, I don't have any problem doing it in D&D, but I do have a problem doing like Star Wars The Old Republic or something where you have to choose the bad option. I'm like,
Yeah, like it's like there are 3 clear options. You have good, the bad, and the ridiculous.
Right.
I could never choose the bad or the ridiculous growing up. I always had to choose the good. My brother always chose the bad.
Yeah, I don't know, just can't do it in a video game. Can do it in D&D though.
Yeah, y'all ever seen Gravity Falls? They had an episode called Dungeons, Dragons, and More Dungeons.
And More Dungeons.
Now, I've never seen Gravity Falls, but I did watch the Adventure Time episode.
And I have watched like a few episodes of Gravity Falls. It's pretty good. I
Yeah.
haven't like watched it from start to finish.
That was after my time.
Yes, it was also after my time, but Eric was watching it not too long ago, and that's when I started to see a little bit of it. So
Yeah. So getting back on topic, your D&D proclivity is towards
rein us in. Yes.
Evil.
Evil.
Well, before Scott's campaign. So your character in Scott's campaign was a little different.
My character in Scott's campaign was chaotic.
Mm-hmm.
Chaotic neutral. I gave him space that if I wanted him to make a bad decision, he could make a bad decision.
Mm-hmm.
But I also was not nailing him down to making good decisions good decisions either.
Mm-hmm.
He could just decide. Well, he himself not necessarily decided what was good or evil. He just didn't have a compass for it because of his background.
Well, technically, he did have a compass.
I feel like...
No, he had that little compass. Remember the little mirror?
Oh,
thing?
that was a mirror. That wasn't a compass.
Oh.
Yeah.
Well, I thought the character idea was interesting, especially since you were neutral. So a little bit of backstory in Brandon's character. As things would happen that would adjust his emotions, your character, being a changeling, would change.
Yeah. Changelings don't necessarily have to change according to their emotions, but I decided to nail him down to that so that anytime he had an emotional change, he would feel the need to change how he looked physically. So he had 6 forms, and I think out of the 6 you saw maybe 3, maybe 4.
His character was ridiculous. It's like layer upon layer upon layer. It's like one of those freaking bloomin' onions at the fair, like 40 layers. So when you make your characters that way, and we don't uncover all of the depth, does that disappoint you?
Yeah, it was disappointing when our campaign did not continue forward. Yes, I had just started writing background into his parents and why he was as he was, and we were getting there, and then the campaign ended early, and I couldn't get to that point.
Mm-hmm.
I literally had just drafted up an actual minifigure of his dad and mom. And then what happened when he was stuck in the what's it called? You have the Feywild. No, you have the Feywild, and you have Shadowfell.
Yeah.
What happened to him in the Shadowfell? I had gotten all that written up, all that prepared, and then Scott's campaign, and I was like, no.
Yeah. So you had a changeling What was the race again? Oh, the raceling was
changeling.
He was a mesmerist.
He was a mesmerist. Was what his abilities was?
It was
his class? That's
and then
the
you
word.
could summon images, and that was kind of cool. And now you're playing a Vidalcan artificer.
Yes, an artificer.
Yeah, and the way you designed this character, it was weird because before you had your character as they would change would have different names, and RP wise we would have to engage them as, oh, this is a completely different character that I've never seen before.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, okay, that's kind of cool. And now your new character has difficulty with speech because you don't speak common, or didn't initially.
Did naturally, yeah.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
but you have what do you call Kubel?
He's a Vidalcan. Oh, you're talking about Kubel is a construct.
Yeah, he's like a mech construct of
He's
sorts.
a steel defender according to the specifics.
Yeah. And the way you guys interact, I think that's kind of cool too. But I think it's interesting that you always, at least from what I've experienced, choose characters that have multiple personalities that you get to play out. Have you noticed that?
I guess, well, between the two campaigns, yes, I have had that. I always have made characters with double lives.
Mm-hmm.
Or at least 2 lives in the case of Rill and Kubel. But yes, and then I had, thinking back to campaigns you're not a part of, I had, what is his name? I had Amot, some kind of tiefling who was, yes, tiefling.
Oh, tiefling.
Tiefling. but that little kind of character. And he was calm and collected, but he had a breaking point that he would snap and really go evil if he got to that point because he was a warlock. He had 3 levels of warlock, and he was a pack with the old one. So essentially that means that occasionally your sanity breaks and you do weird crap. So you can have your abilities.
So all of your characters have this interesting mental dynamic. Gosh, what was your last character? What was it called?
Jalix.
Jalix
Mm-hmm.
had all these different personalities based on the emotions, and your current one, Rill, Rill and Kubel being the construct, can't speak common, and like you have all these tics about your character, especially social tics and anger tics and stuff. And I don't know, do you see any of yourself in these characters?
Oh.
I mean, I know you're extremely angry.
Oh, yes, I'm a very angry person. No, I definitely see myself in these characters 100%.
Yeah. We had a friend that actually made a comment that kind of irritated you. I thought it was really funny.
He called my character autistic.
Well, I mean, it's how you played it, man.
I was like, that's not fair.
So his character, not speaking common, would sign language to Kubel, and he was like, I don't know, and just the tics and the slow pickup, but crazy intelligence.
Yeah.
I was like, wait a minute, this is familiar.
This is autism. No, that was not intentional. I did not create Rill to be autistic. It's just he didn't know the language, and so he was trying to communicate and was slow to do so. Mm-hmm. And so I had to, I gave him the challenge of, he didn't know common. His robot did, but his robot couldn't speak. So he would look to Kubel, say something, and then Kubel would then sign language it back to him as close as possible, and then he would try to produce the words.
Yeah.
And that's the problem that he kept running into that made everyone think he was autistic.
Yeah. Okay, so my characters. In the past campaign, I played a halfling, wild mage sorcerer,
Yep.
who was also a gambler.
Who was a
This is
gambler.
all based on chance, all based on backline, all based on just doing it whatever the heck he pleased.
It's very fun.
And his personality was more reserved, more, I don't really want to engage with anybody. And my current character is very similar in that regard too. I play a human gunslinger, which also stays at afar, always has this defensive wall put up and doesn't want to trust people. And as we've gone through the campaigns, I'm like, man, am I teaching myself about something? Because none of my characters really want to engage. And I wonder, am I just embarrassed to engage with D&D characters. Who was that girl that came one time and played the rogue?
Oh yeah,
I keep seeing her at Barnes Noble lately.
it's Haley's half sister,
What's her name?
but I don't remember her name, unfortunately.
Yeah,
I don't know.
Katie.
Katie, that sounds about right. That
Okay.
sounds about right.
Yeah, so she played this rogue, and she had crazy dexterity, crazy stealth, but she was like really loud intentionally and hyperactive, like, hi, my name's blah, 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 blah. But she could hide in plain sight, and it was crazy. It was such a cool character concept.
It's a very interesting to think that you're playing a stealthy rogue, but you are as loud as all get out. How does that work?
Yeah, and just the idea of playing a character like that really makes me feel insecure, I think.
Really?
Yeah, I mean, just allowing myself to drop that type of filter. I mean, everybody at our table currently has certain tics about their speech patterns or has a voice for their characters. I'm the only one who does not have a voice yet. I definitely have tics about me,
Yes.
like misogyny and
Yes.
whatever, which just kind of develops. I'm not really misogynistic, but yeah, it's just. It's crazy how a game like D&D role playing can really teach you about you and reveal you to you. It's like, do I have a problem?
Am I okay?
Yeah, and funny enough, like we have a Wednesday group where you, me, and two other guys get together. We talk about our feelings.
Ooh.
And even there, it's tough for me to just completely let down all the walls, or until one recently it has been.
Yeah, you've been doing better about that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I see. For me, I can do other characters besides the ones that I do. I think I could do it. I just don't do it because I like to be fully immersed in what I'm doing. But then again, part of my personality is I focus on one thing at a time. So I'm going into my character. I want to make sure that I play this character well. If I try to do a character I've never done before and a personality that's foreign to me, I feel like I wouldn't do a good job doing that character. I wouldn't be as immersed as I would like to be in that character. So I've chosen characters soberly that I know reflect exaggerated parts of myself.
Yeah. Eric has really done well about that because the character that he played last time was this religious, what was he, like a minotaur, I think?
Yes, he was a minotaur.
He was a religious minotaur that was like a freaking totem barbarian or something. And this time around, he's playing a bard that's kind of cracked out. It was just polar opposite of what he was before. And I'm like, oh, that's kind of cool. I wonder, like, I have other character ideas, but they're all the reserved, quiet. Like, I have a bard idea where I just speak through instruments. And then I've got this stoic, what is he? He's like a military guy that has a pole arm and, ex-military, like, I will defend you, but I'm not going to say much. I'm like, why do I always bend towards that, man? But, moving on, like, the idea of decision-making in D&D is interesting, too, especially within a social dynamic, because when you're at the table, you have people that you know in real life, but you're playing characters that wouldn't really do what you do or can do things that you'd like to do.
Yeah.
And it's like, so we recently got into a situation where we were just supposed to go talk to this shopkeeper. And Brandon's character is, what's your alignment?
Lawful neutral.
Lawful neutral. Oh my gosh.
Very lawful.
Yeah. And
heavy on the lawful.
Mine is chaotic good.
Yeah.
Right.
Chaotic good.
Right. We were talking about relative morality earlier. And so we're supposed to go just interrogate this guy. And so we go in, and I think David's character and you talk to the shopkeeper while I sneak in the back room. And then all hell breaks loose. Like, I start grabbing stuff and his documents, and then we created a scene, like destroy his shop or something.
Well, we didn't destroy his shop, but I think what it was, Trelos, Eric's character, was making a bit of a scene outside the door with music, and then Celeste, Haley's character, converted herself into a different form and walked in and was being Karen.
Oh, yeah.
Yep. And then I came in with Rill because I wanted to ask questions and it didn't seem like everything was going well. And then as I was trying to ask questions through Rill, himself came through. He went from objective questions or like, just formal questions to personal questions because he had unfinished beef with Brim. He felt like the discount that he got for literally taking on a spectator, the spectator, and then watching Kubel be murdered by by the spectator and one of his close friends in that moment was the 10% discount, whatever it was not sufficient to cover that. And he was going to let him know, and then David's character.
So you're being Vidalkin Karen,
I guess, and then Scrimhawk tried to smooth things over in the process, and as he was doing that, your character had finished up stealing some potions and the ledgers or whatever it was.
And all the bracelets.
And the bracelets. And you were going out the door semi-sloppily, and then he ended up, Scrimhawk ended up taking the decanter of water and just poured it into his face so he would be distracted and you could get out without being seen.
And I got out without being seen.
And you got out with being seen.
With my contraband.
With your contraband, yes.
So let's think about real life. Would I do this in real life?
I don't think you would.
I don't know, man. Especially if I think that somebody's guilty of something. Would I actually sneak in the back room and investigate?
Maybe I feel like you would investigate. I don't know if you would steal stuff. Would you?
It depends on if it's enchanted. I don't know.
Oh, God.
I mean, let's think about this. So you're in a fantasy environment, and it's life and death. And this guy might be bad.
I mean, I understand. At least I could see the need to take the document, sure, but not necessarily the rest of his stuff.
Well, the crazy thing is when I planned my character, his name is Nemo. When I planned him, I didn't plan him to be a thief. I didn't plan him to be stealthy. I didn't plan him to be impulsive or immature, or misogynistic, and that's just how he's developed. I don't know how that is either. Like, I just started talking junk to Haley's character one day. I was like, "Women are meant to be seen, not heard," and whatever. And she's like, "Oh, all right." And it just stuck, And then certain tics, like using other people's ideas as his own. It's like, do I do that in real life? I mean, maybe.
We all technically do that.
Yeah.
In great technicality, we definitely all build off of someone else's work.
Yeah. So, in that vein of your character developing, because after every session, we have something called Stars and Wishes, where we talk about things we liked and things that we think should be different. We talked several sessions ago about character development and about how the campaign and the story was going to come to a halt if certain characters don't develop. Like, we'd either have to kill them off or, just allow them to go their own way or something for the what am I trying to say? For the means of advancement, for the good of the party, something like that.
Yeah.
And it's like, okay, so I can't wait for people to come to me and develop me. I have to figure out how to do this for the sake of the team in a third person way, right? I'm like, am I like that in real life? Do I just wait for people to come and develop me before I initiate change, or am I more proactive about it for the sake of other people?
I mean, the problem that I was facing with Rill was that I was looking for specific events to happen that would be not obvious trigger points for him to have growth.
Mm-hmm.
Because while I might have grown in a situation, I'm trying to hold back Rill to grow at what would be a logical pace in my mind for him to grow, given what he's been through.
Yeah.
And so for me, I don't think I would, for Rill, I wouldn't be, or for me in real life, thinking about Rill, would be waiting for this arbitrary moment to grow. But I have had this thought process of, if I just understand this, then it'll be a lot easier to do the right thing.
Mm-hmm.
So there's that similarity.
So you're waiting for certain triggers to happen in order for you to release parts of yourself?
Well, no, not to say that I'm holding myself back. It's that I feel like I won't be able to succeed until I have a better understanding about something. And in the most general sense that I can think of.
Yeah. Do you think your character's developed in a certain way that you didn't intend?
Well, I know my characters encountered things I didn't expect for them to encounter.
Like what?
robbery. Yeah, in the party. There was no planning for
man.
that. I had this whole envision of how he would grow, and I was making him follow the steps that would logically make him grow. And then
in comes Tim's character.
in comes Tim's character, who not only has shot Real multiple
I
times,
didn't shoot you.
inadvertently shot me.
You were within blast range of my freaking weapon, dude.
Ye who was in fireball range. But nonetheless, still getting hurt. That happening multiple times, and then he could put up with that. That was fine. The stealing was the hard part for him. That was the camel that he what is it? Choke on a gnat, strain a camel. I don't know. Whatever it was. It was the moment.
Wait, what?
Choking on
a camel?
I don't remember what the exact statement is.
The proverbial straw that broke the camel's back?
There's that, yes, but there's another one that's something
that
about
involves choking camels.
Straining
like
a
some
gnat.
BDSM stuff.
I don't know. I just know that there's a statement out there that comes something to that line. I'll have to find it. Google probably knows.
Hey, Google. He's unplugged.
Okay, Google cannot help in this
Anyway.
situation.
Yeah, so...
then in comes your character. I'm like, no, what am I going to do? The whole party is like okay with this practically.
It's so strange because initially the whole party hated my character. And now they really don't like your character.
So to speak. I think they're warming up to my character once again.
I just loved it because my character was like, yeah, I mean, he is a piece of crap, I mean, I've been trying to tell you guys this whole time.
After my character took on the blame for what you did.
You almost... Okay, I mean, we thought you were going to rat us out.
No.
We thought.
Yeah. And that's what made that particular session so well, because that's what you kept thinking was going to happen, and that's not what happened.
Yeah. Yeah, and, I think there's a part of me when we play D&D that expects the person to respond to me in the game the way they would in real life.
Yeah.
I
No, I
don't
mean,
know if you
yeah.
ever deal with that.
That's where I dealt with after that session when who was still having issues with everyone's morality.
Yeah.
And I was starting to have rejection anxiety problems in that moment because I thought everyone at the table was rejecting me because Rill can't get his act together.
Oh, yeah. Like, I felt that too. And initially, whenever I was like, just ganging up on me for no... And I was like, I'm just saving I'm doing what I need to do. Chaotic good, whatever it takes.
I'm just trying to remain in character, but everyone's pissed off at that, it felt like.
Right?
Yeah.
And I don't know. I mean, that actor that was... Have you seen Game of Thrones?
No, I've not.
Do you know any of the characters, like if you saw them?
I only know the woman by her face, but not her name.
What about the guy, the really young Kid King Joffrey?
Not
he was a
really.
meme for a while.
Oh, maybe I saw his meme.
Well, he was such an asshat character. He was like really bad. And he did a really, 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 really good job at playing a bad character. So much that I forget what the article that I read recently said, but he was so good at playing his character that in real life he was getting death threats from people.
Jeez.
Yeah, and it was difficult for him to get jobs because he was typecast as that type of character. And now he's coming out of hiding or whatever the article said. I don't know if it was just like, fishing for likes or whatever by its language, sensationalizing what was going on. But he's come out of hiding and he's trying to play new roles that aren't that. And he's having a really difficult time. So just for playing a character, he's being judged hardcore.
I think a lot of people have a hard time differentiating between they're playing this role and they are that.
Yeah.
Because it is a fine line. Going on to the topic, are we living vicariously through our characters? All the things you've seen in Rill are all things I'm either capable of or inside of me.
Well, I think... So I just got through reading Blue Like Jazz, and there was this question that was posed. They were talking about some third world country like Somalia or something, and the question was posed between two friends. Do you think you're capable of rape? And the guy receiving the question was like, nah, and he was thinking about it, and he was like, well, actually, I think everybody's capable of doing anything. It's just like, that's not my realm of something I would choose, though.
Right. But the characters I play, the evil characters I play, are definitely the parts of me I'm most likely to do if I just didn't give a care about morality and doing the right thing.
Yeah.
If I was a little bit more dysfunctional and because that's the whole thing also of just like people are like, oh, Brandon's just naturally a good person or whatever. He's just good. He's trustable. He's this or that. No, I've spent a long time denying myself and choosing the right thing over and over again, that I have built up mechanisms within me that prevent me from doing the wrong thing. But if I wanted to fight that at any moment, I could, and you would see what I really am if I didn't actually work on myself.
Yeah, I think in real life, being a manager and being a leader and being all these different things, it's like I know that there are consequences to my actions, especially when I lead a group of people or influence a group of people, or even in my professional world, like doing the relationship consultation stuff. It's like people are coming to me for answers, and I have to steward that well. And then just thinking about how in this game I can do whatever and put the party in really dire circumstances, knowing that it's going to be fun getting out of it, and not really caring about that as much because, it's all dice rolls, I think it's relieving to a degree to allow myself to experience all those worldly desires. But I still have a difficult time doing it because it's like deep down, I think the people at the table are going to judge me because I do it, like. So recently, my character decided to just off this one bad guy, and the whole party could have gotten really sick rewards if we had taken him back alive. But it's like, no, I'm just going to blow this guy to pieces. It just kind of happened that way, but it's like, that was fun. Just killing somebody indiscriminately or stealing or lying to save my own tail,
Yeah.
It's like I wouldn't do that in real life, but I don't know. It just felt so good.
Well, yeah, because in real life, there is ramifications and it's not healthy for you. But when you're trying to tell a story that describes the fall of man, I feel like there's more eloquent words to be said, but that's all I can think of in this moment. There's an outlet for it. I feel like there is a genuine outlet to be able to showcase the depravity that we all have in a way, and then maybe even work with that parts of ourselves that otherwise could take over and redeem them in some shape, way, or form, or not, for the sake of having an actual villain.
Yeah.
It makes for an interesting story rather than we do the right thing every time because we're good.
Yeah. Kind of in that vein, something else I've noticed is that when I don't really know who the big bad is in the story, it's really difficult for me to play my character.
When we had, that's where I had the most stress, is when we didn't know exactly what was next or where to go next. In Scott's campaign, we had a next thing to go to, next thing to kill, whatever.
So Dan, if you're listening, Scott is a much better DM than you.
That is not what I was going to say.
I'm just kidding, Dan.
But and so I felt more right about every decision I made in Scott's campaign.
Yeah.
But in Dan's campaign, when I don't know what I'm supposed to do, it's like...
Well, a lot of it was hanging out in the city. And I think Dan's really good about responding to what we want to do. But I think, especially since I didn't have a lot of thought that was put into my backstory and whatever, I was expecting to be swept up on an adventure. But I didn't expect as much freedom as we've had so far. I'm like, how do I respond to this? What type of food do I like? Like... In a critical situation, do I respond in anger? Am I impulsive? And I don't know. It's kind of interesting when you, no pun intended, just roll the dice and see what you get. It's really fun. Like I didn't expect for my character to be impulsive. I didn't expect for my character to be just the way he is. But, establishing those precedents and sticking to them has been a lot of fun. But I think the difference between that and real life is, okay, I don't have to live based on these precedents.
Yeah. It's and again, like I said, it's an opportunity to express a part of yourself that otherwise is not healthy to be expressed.
Yeah.
That leads to destruction of self and others. Like in real life, I don't want to do certain decisions that I make, like playing Amot or whatever I named him, the tiefling. I don't want to go butchering up people and then writing with their blood on walls like Amot would have done if he actually was in a space where that would happen, but he was in the middle of the North Pole and everything was undead, so I couldn't actually do that. Anyways, I don't want to do that in real life because I know it's going to push people away from me, kill them literally, and it's going to make me more and more insane. I don't want that. And that's the whole concept with him. He was insane. And that's where his abilities came from because he was insane. And he was a warlock.
Yeah.
And that's where it came from. I keep saying repetitive things. Anyways, I know there's ramifications for that. But in that moment, I could explore what would that look like, you know, and relish the moment in order to make it more interesting for everyone else. Because I feel like if the campaign were to be straight, everyone's making the right decisions all the time, we wouldn't have that really powerful moment in between where we had stolen stuff and then now like terrified what Rill's going to do and then have the releasing tension when he didn't, you know, actually rat everyone out, and now we're on this new journey. Like I feel like that became a powerful moment because we made bad decisions.
Let's see. Just came by to say I'm still triggered about loading to some woman with long fingernails.
That's from the
AI battle.
AI battle from Saturday. Yeah.
You loaded to some woman with long fingernails?
Yeah, there was one of the characters. Her name was Jessica. Was it Jessica? I don't know. There was a character who fought with sarcasm and a nail file. That was her weapons.
Oh gosh.
Yeah, I know.
What was Hell Knight's weapon?
He was himself, and he had this big unstoppable sword.
Yeah.
If I remember correctly.
Apparently it wasn't unstoppable because he lost. Next time.
Just gonna rub it right in.
Speaking of which, Hell Knight, do you play Overwatch, right? They play Overwatch?
I don't know. Do you play Overwatch, Hell Knight?
Isn't that where we met them?
I think so.
Because
Yeah.
Overwatch Dose is coming out next month. Well, in a month and a half.
Month and a half, yeah.
Pretty excited. Got off track. What were we saying? Something about characters, something about story development.
Well, yeah, talking about like the story would not have been as interesting if it wasn't for the bad decisions that we made.
Yeah, and you know, like early on in our campaign, I only wanted to make good decisions to keep my character in good standing, and then when all this stuff happened, I'm like, oh, this is actually kind of fun. Like, I'm gonna say this, and if you're offended by language, there's other streams to watch. But like a theme for our group is fuck around and find out.
Yeah.
I just think it's so interesting because that's exactly what we like. Hey, let's roll the die. I don't know.
Let's find out.
It's just so interesting to try new things as a team. And it's like, okay, I'm going to do this ridiculous thing. And this whole group of people is going to somehow find a solution with me because we're a party for some reason. I like that mechanic. It's fun.
What? And I think also giving us the ability to make these mistakes is a way of helping us to learn more about ourselves. Because if we didn't have that tension in that moment, I would not have realized the rejection anxiety that was potentially there.
Yeah.
And learn about my proclivity toward stubbornness in certain ways.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, and just, I don't know. There's something there, and this is a life theme for you guys if you need life advice from a lay counselor and a life coach. Having the space to make mistakes and having people that are not going to give up on you is a really big deal.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, that's kind of what, really good friendships are about. That's what my marriage is about. Like, I fail on the daily, and I got people that just don't give up. They're like, okay, we're going to finish the story together. That's really cool.
Yeah. What were you thinking when you were bringing that up specifically? Because it feels connected but also disconnected at the same time.
Well, it's like in D&D, you're part of a party. And when you make a decision, like let's say that Masuda, who is like the big king of the world, or not the world, the mayor.
the mayor of the sunken city where we were at.
Mayor of the sunken city. Yeah, it's like I could have said, I run up and punch him in the tummy.
Mhm.
And it's like I'm part of a group of people that have to reconcile this together. It's like, how are we going to do this? Because even though we're all separate people, we're in the story together, and the story is going to move on with a single narration, because we have one DM. It's like, how is the team going to respond to my actions?
Okay, yeah. And the fact that you stole stuff and we still stuck with you and didn't throw you out,
Well,
and then tried to cover up for you too.
Yeah, I think. Hey, Austin.
Hey.
I think it's interesting how I totally expected for everybody to just like leave and say, "Hey, he's stealing." Oh, he's stealing. You remember that meme? Oh, she's stealing. And that's what I fully expected the team to do that, but no, they were like, "Okay, we need to save him. We need to get him out of there. Let's all fall into sin with him," And it's like a paradigm shift for the entire party because I made a decision and everybody else was like, "Okay, this is who we are now. We're all gonna just be thieves as a collective." By the way, let's go to the black market. This is gonna be great.
And we did. We actually went to the black market, but to get a very specific object to help us fix the mistakes we made and maybe some other stuff too. I don't know.
But that whole thing, like I showed you that video, and if you've never seen this video, it's really funny. Just go to YouTube and type in Scoots, SCOOTS DnD. It's basically a funny, what do you call it thing? A skit? Yeah, it's a funny skit of some people playing D&D, and this one guy, he's that one guy at the table that just always does ridiculous things, and it's like, oh my God. Can you just like bring it in, please? And he's like, the Goblin King has whatever. He's like, I punch him in the penis. And he rolls a natural 20. So of course it's got to happen, And it's
I don't need this.
And they didn't kick him out of the group. I mean, the DM finally did something to.
And he should have stuck with it too, but he didn't.
Yeah, and
he gave some sob story and like, oh, we'll bring you back, and then he comes back and does the exact same thing over.
Yeah, but what I'm trying to say is I think it's interesting how our entire group is like, okay, we're a collective. We're going to play together. We're going to figure this out. And I think there's something special about that as a community. Austin says, Tim, I took the kids to Skateland a few weeks ago, brought back some childhood. Oh, man, I keep telling Ariane about Skateland. It's like middle school for me. I miss it so much.
I wanted to do rollerblading again. It's been too long.
Yeah. Oh man, it's weird though because I had these really cool skates back then, and if I went now, I'd have to wear. We call them the Bobos.
You're talking about the 4-1, like 2 in the back, 2 in the front.
Yeah, I mean the legit term for them is quads, but if you do the rental skates, they're like brown with bright orange wheels. We always called them Bobos, and it's what the noobs used.
Oh,
I would have to use the noob skates.
I might. Yeah, I think I'd have to as well.
Yeah, it's weird. It's like. There's that pride there. Why do I care so much? Maybe it's just because I think it's more fun to go fast.
I feel like if I'm going to get straight line, it's going to be when I go down Muddy Creek, but that's another story.
Yeah. Anyway.
The party's still accepting you despite different things, talking about that video we watched from Scoots.
Yeah. It's like, okay, so talking about preservation, right? In the early on in the campaign, I wanted to preserve my character's reputation. I guess that's what it was.
Right.
And now it's like I don't care as much about the reputation as much as I care about sticking to who he's developing to be. Because I know the group is going to work together and like it's going to make it interesting. And I think a lot of my life I did that. I did a lot of curation of what I was allowing people to see. Mm-hmm. And I wouldn't allow myself to have the dynamics of who I actually was, which is actually more interesting, like the good and the bad and the neutral. The just whatever proclivities I have, the nuance of who I am.
I feel like that's a natural progression for people, though, and it's a real life example because people start off with their best foot forward, typically, unless you're working retail and they're trying to return something and they want to start off with their worst foot forward.
Yeah, but you have to understand, like, I started with my best foot forward and I stayed with my best foot forward because anything less than that was unacceptable.
Yeah, I think I would say that's something that's like a growth area for you over the years of just learning to walk normally, if you will, not just nicely. But it's still I think like natural where everyone starts off in that best foot forward phase, and eventually that becomes it's very difficult to walk in a way that's really nice. Like that's why I don't know, my brain is starting to think of like similarities between that and wearing shoes, because I've worked with shoes for 6 years. It's like, there's a way
Brennan has a proclivity towards feet.
I depending on context.
You've been working with shoes for 6 years, Brandon.
Depending on context, Tim. But
this should be on your Tinder profile.
I have a proclivity towards feet.
Will work for feet.
Anyways, got to focus here. There's a way of which you can walk that is maybe more efficient, better heel striking, and then rolling forward and using every part of your foot in your step. But it takes a lot of mental energy to focus on doing that. It's not sustainable because you shouldn't have to think about how you walk 24/7. It's just you have so many other things to think about. And in the same way, if you're spending all of your time thinking about how you're walking before people, it's exhausting.
Do you still do that?
No.
You don't?
Well, I'm thinking of literal, like, thinking about how I literally walk.
Well, like, okay, so you remember in school how you'd be in the lunchroom or you walk past a class or something with an open door, and you do that thing where it's like, I've forgotten how to walk. And then you do that thing where, like, your right leg and your right arm go forward at the same time, and you're just kind of doing this waddle. Or it's like, wait. And you just get stuck. It's like you start focusing on every part of your body, and it's like, do they notice that I'm not breathing properly?
I don't think I've actually gone that far.
Really?
I'm not really thought about.
Maybe it's just my social anxiety.
Maybe. I can't say that it's never happened, but it's not happened enough that I will remember it happening. Yeah, no, I don't really think about that. I've definitely tried to put my best foot forward metaphorically, though, into things, for sure. But not necessarily literally. But in the same, like I was saying, though, like it's just as difficult it is to just walk a specific way that maybe is healthy, it's just not sustainable because you have so many other things that you're thinking about. So people have to drop that after a time because you have to think about hopefully don't think about breathing, but like you have breathing, you've got, making sure that you're taking care of how much food you have in your body, not eating too much, too little, exercising, blinking because your eyes are getting dry.
And you're all thinking about blinking right now.
I don't want to think about blinking.
It's a manual process for the next 5 minutes for you.
No! And then you're thinking about, how am I going to pay for things? How am I going to help this person? What am I going to do? Do I have enough energy for this? All these different processes. You need to have a safe place to not have to think about these things. And eventually you're just going to stop doing that, and the right people are going to allow you to stop thinking about the right way of walking or acting so that way you can be yourself, so you can move towards healthier ways of doing it legitimately that is unforced. What is it, the saying? The unforced rhythms of grace?
I've never heard that in my life.
I've heard of it somewhere. I don't know if it's in the Bible or someone just kind of inferred it from the Bible, but the unforced rhythms of grace. It's an important thing. And so I think I got onto this whole topic just thinking about, like you were mentioning, and now you're just letting your character be your character, and it makes the whole thing more interesting, more realistic. You're able to learn more about yourself in the process, and it just happens in a party in general. People start off, and then eventually they become more, and a safe people is what allows you to kind of let down those guards so you can actually be yourself and actually see what's there.
Yeah.
So that's the caboose of the thought. I hope I tied that up well, because I don't feel like I did, but it made sense in my head. Okay.
I think you did. And I do want to say to those of you who are watching, whether you're watching presently or in the future, if you would like to see us broadcast our D&D sessions, we've thought about that. Let us know in the comments.
Yeah. We do keep track of the comments. We're not so big that we're getting so many comments that we can't keep up with them.
I will say that a lot of our sessions are probably PG-13 plus, rated R.
Not rated R, but PG-13, yes.
What would be the difference between PG-13 and R?
I feel like R is when you start getting into like people are doing sexual things.
What does R even mean?
Rated
R.
Rated R. What does the word?
I know the M stands for mature in video games.
R raunchy?
Righteous?
No, definitely
Risque?
not. Risque, maybe.
Please.
Please. Okay, Jeremy.
Rated R for please.
Rated R for please.
I think he's talking about streaming D&D.
Yes, I think so too.
Restricted.
Oh, that
Thanks,
makes
Jeremy.
more sense. Thank you. I was not able to figure that out.
But yeah, what would be the difference between PG-13 and rated?
Well, again, I think it goes when things get sexual or they get like overly gory.
Too graphic. I mean,
Too graphic, yeah. Like if we start like talking about filleting a person's skin off of them and they're screaming in torment and blood's dripping, I feel like at that
we kind
point
of do that when Dan's like, okay, how do you want to end this guy?
Well, yeah, but it's still not quite that bad.
Yeah.
It's not like we're having like sadistic torture going on in our game.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, I was saying, yeah, I thought so. Correct, yeah. I got you, Jeremy. I'll relay that to Dan.
Yeah. Anyway, I guess like the whole concept of do we live vicariously through our D&D characters
Yes.
and all that. I think, much to my chagrin, I think I kind of do.
Yeah.
Especially like my items. I'm so fixated on whatever game I play, especially if I create a character, I'm so fixated on acquiring items. I'm kind of like that in real life, as you can see to the background.
I love one thing I picked up about David, he's very attached to his items too. Like, but I think that's a real life and him thing.
Yeah, I think he and I have similar backgrounds in that, like, we just like to hoard stuff. Like, I wish you guys could see in these closets behind us.
Not today.
Maybe in a future behind the scenes.
A special thought raid stream. What's in the closet?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Also rated PG-13.
Oh no. But I definitely live vicariously through my character, and I don't feel bad about it because, like, we all enjoy a really good people. Like, I think about my mom; she enjoys watching murder mysteries, or she'll enjoy watching. There's some dark things she likes to watch. Well, a lot of us like to watch, I don't know, Lord of the Rings, Harry Potter, or some other things that have dark elements to it. And I don't think these are terrible things. How could they do what they're doing? They're teaching a story throughout it all, and you have to have these dark things that people go through in order to show a story of redemption and overcoming and power and strength. Like, that's what gives it its interestingness. And so sometimes you have the opportunity through D&D to be the dark thing that people have to overcome, and I think that can be good in its right place.
Yeah.
We live in a dark world. And so I feel like to ignore that reality and to just surround ourselves with only good things, I feel like that does us a disservice, and it limits the creativity that we have, I think.
Well, I'm going to say this, and this is going to be the caboose for me for this talk. I think it's really easy, especially as a Christian, to get wrapped up in this idea that we're only going to live in a world with these good things, especially, the out of sight, out of mind, take every thought captive to the obedience of Christ. It's what comes out of a man that defiles him, not what goes in. It's like, I think we could be really afraid to allow sanctification to actually happen. Being honest about what we're feeling and thinking, allowing other people to share in that with us, to expose it. I don't know. I think it's really easy for us to hide that stuff away and never actually allow people in to help us deal with it. And I think that's something that D&D's really helped me with.
Yeah. It kind of pinpoints what's there, what's potential. Not necessarily mean that that's actually what you're doing or going to do, but it really helps pinpoint what's there and has the potentiality to become a thing.
Anyway, with that said,
if you've enjoyed this stream, guys, Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed this stream, make sure to like it, hit the subscribe button. If you're on Twitch, thank you for following us. We would love for you to be a part of our streams, just chatting with us, because we love when people comment. It's our favorite thing. It's my favorite thing. Is it your favorite thing?
Thank you for not speaking for me, Brandon. It's okay.
It's okay. It's my favorite thing, at least.
Yeah, well, talking to you guys is fun,
Yes.
especially when it's about D&D and whatnot.
So if you've enjoyed it, make sure to subscribe to us and to follow us, or to follow us on Facebook, wherever you may be. But I want to thank you guys for watching, and with that said, we broadcast every week on Monday, Friday, and Saturday at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, and we will be live again this coming Friday with some more gaming. It's going to be me and Dan and some interesting thoughts and Minecraft.
Yeah, I can see far away from where I've been. He says I see a potential. I see a potential in my eyes. I see a potential. I never lost sight of the reason why you're alive. You're alive. You're alive. We sing Jesus.